Hey everyone, it's all the Backyard Gardener, and I've been out of town for a few days, and we've had 100-degree days here in Texas, but it's crazy. I mean, the tomatoes were on the verge of shutting down, but all the fruit that's on them is starting to ripen. So I thought in this video, I would give you kind of a tour/harvest video, because on Tuesday, it's Friday right now, on Tuesday I harvested 15 pounds of tomatoes, cucumbers, and hot peppers. But there's a ton of tomatoes, so let me go ahead and just take you around. We'll harvest some of the tomatoes and you'll kind of see what I'm looking at. Let's take a look. So here was the 3 tomato weeds that I planted in this pot on my porch. It's just about on its last life, but we've got several of these black cherry tomatoes actually, which I really like. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these off for you. This plant's down really to its last few tomatoes, but we're still picking them. This thing's probably a week away from being completely done. And I'm just gonna walk around the yard and we'll just keep picking stuff off and we'll show you what we got. Here's another look at my other tomato weeds that I grew in pots. And again, these were volunteer tomatoes and I put them in pots just to get what I can out of them. And so we're gonna continue to pull off as many of these black cherry tomatoes as possible. These are a little more ripe, and even though they're not protected, like I said about the black cherry tomatoes, guys, the birds, they don't really mess with these too much. And since these plants don't look that healthy and we've had a lot of rain mixed in with the heat, I think the birds have gotten their fair share of water, so they're not too interested in these tomatoes right now. But I am, and I'm gonna be pulling these guys off. We've also got a lot of these red on the vine tomatoes. They'll take just a few days indoors to finish their ripening process. And we've also got some of these black cherry Roma cross tomatoes, which I'm grabbing as well and throwing in there. Some more red on the vines. Another one there. Up here. It's going to be quite a bit of tomatoes, which honestly, for free tomato plants, you really can't go wrong. Can't get mad at these guys. Handful of grape tomatoes over here, which is always fun to pick off. These things are absolutely fantastic. Got another nice handful of them up here. And they come off real easy right now because the plants are not that healthy. They're really just ripening these tomatoes to try to extend their lives, or in death, make sure that they're able to reproduce. Kind of some nice ones down here, as you can see. And there's several more which I'll pick off camera right now and get you caught up. So that's not a bad little pick of volunteer tomatoes that have come in late season. Let's go get some more. I can see back here I've got an heirloom tomato. I don't know if you can see this, but he's back in here. There he is. We'll pick him off a little early. There you go. A few more days on the counter for this guy. He'll be good to go. Set him in there for now. I know there's more. Got a few more back here. These are really exposed. The birds will be getting to these tomorrow if I don't pick them off now. So we'll go ahead and grab these guys today. And these are my heirlooms. I believe these ones are going to be, yeah, these are going to be the pink brandy wines. A little more than you'd like right now, but the heat's going to stunt them a little bit. So we'll add those guys to the bin as well. And then here's my 6 grape tomato plants. There is quite a few on these actually, considering I just picked them a few days ago. I picked every single one that was just starting to turn color. So I'm not gonna bore you with every single one that I pick, but the birds are leaving them alone. That makes me excited. And these things are chock full of flavor, especially if you last all the way to when you pick them off the plant. Now that I'm thinking that I can only pick them red and the birds aren't messing with them, I may leave a lot of these on until they're fully red. We'll add those in there and we'll just keep on picking away, guys. So I do want to show you that when I do leave them on, they do get eaten by the birds. That's what happens. But honestly, if it means sacrificing a couple of them until they're red, I don't mind doing that. I'll leave them on there a couple of days longer to get them like this, because these will be so flavorful, it'll be ridiculous. Wanted to show you what the heat's doing to my cucumbers. They're not getting the correct pollination or the correct water supply, and they're starting to curl a little bit. So I'm going to start getting some deformed looking cucumbers over the next little bit, and I'll get what I can off these. And then in the shade, we do have a nice specimen down there, which is always good to see. Looks like we got a nice one coming in right here. And then one that's really thirsty right here. It's not looking too good. So I'll have to give these guys a good soaking tonight. But yeah, you start getting some odd shaped ones during the heat, or at least I do when they're grown in containers here in Texas. But I'm still pretty happy that I'm getting some, which is a good sign. But not a bad start to the harvest for the day. We still have 2 more sides of the yards to work on. Let's go see what's over there. So here's a side of the yard that has a couple of my unprotected heirloom brandy wines. Looks like we got a nice specimen coming in over here. So we'll go and pull them off. If I wait too much longer on this guy, the birds will get to him. So we'll put them in here, we'll put them on this side, because those are the heirlooms and that's the brandy wine. And then I know I saw another brandy wine here towards the ground that's starting to ripen. And like I said, if I don't get him now, the birds will get him soon. So we'll put him in there as well, which is always nice. I do want to point out, guys, in case I haven't shown you, the sweet potatoes are going absolutely bonkers. These guys are everywhere. They're still about a month and a half away from where I want to harvest them, but I want to show you this even back here. They're sneaking out back here and they're everywhere. I mean, they're going to take over this area. That was the plan. I knew these tomato plants would die off eventually, and then the sweet potatoes would take over. But yeah, the sweet potatoes are going crazy. Here's my San Marzano tomatoes. I picked almost 8 pounds of tomatoes off these the other day, and now I'm going to pick off all of the ones that are ripening on these ones, and you can clearly see I'll grab one off right here. I have these netted up, but the birds have found their way in. As you can see, there's a carcass of one down there. The birds will get to these. They're too smart. They go under the wiring and underneath the netting. They get in there. So I'm going to pull off a lot of the ripening ones on these as well, or starting to ripen ones, and we'll give you guys quite the look of how many San Marzanos I have. I'm just going to pile them up right here on the ground and give you a look. So that's not a bad take, guys. In harvesting them, I knocked a couple of less than desirable ripening ones off. That'll take a little while in the house because it's not a little bit yellow like this one is. It's really just green. So it'll take a while, but I pulled off all the ones that had a hint of yellow on them, or at least I thought would be good to take off now. I did find another one hanging on the plant that a bird got to. This is why you pull them off out here a little early in Texas. And then I even had 3 more immature blossom end rot ones. If you watched my blossom end rot video, then you saw what I do is I usually pull these off, but apparently these guys are pretty ripe and hiding within the plant. So those are no good. I'm not going to worry about cutting them up and saving an inch off them. But anyway, a nice harvest of my San Marzano tomatoes here. Very similar to the Roma tomato. A lot of flavor, good for canning and saucing. We'll add those in. And remember, this is what I got today. And on just Tuesday, 3 days ago, I got 8 pounds of these off. This is probably another 4 pounds, maybe 5. But crazy the amount of tomatoes coming off these 4 plants. And there's a ton more. This basket is getting full, and I still know I have a few more brandy wines in my greenhouse. Let's go get those as well. So, still a jungle in here, but it's a dying jungle. But I know I got a pretty nice brandy wine right here to pick off. Pretty happy about that guy right there. And then we have another one right up here to pick off. So he's pretty good. We've got a few more tomatoes on these plants. Not a whole heck of a lot of them left, but again, they're dying down here in Texas with the heat. But we got a couple of beauties to add to the collection. So here's today's take. It's at least 10 pounds, maybe another 15. It's really close to the size basket I got on Tuesday. So we'll combine this take with Tuesday's take, and I think I got about 30 pounds of vegetables. Now this is pretty much all, well, it's not pretty much, it is all tomatoes this time, whereas the last harvest had some jalapenos and some cucumbers as well. But anyway, let me get these set out on the counter. I'll show you what I've harvested this week. It's almost kind of amazing. So just take a look at the craziness from this week's harvest, the 2 harvests. Let me just walk you through here. I've got several hundred ripening grape tomatoes here, and you know, some are ready to eat now and some have got a few days left. These are my red on the vines, which some are ready to eat now and some are ready to sit for a few more days, but they're really nice looking tomatoes. We've got my black cherry aroma crosses down here, or black plum tomatoes if you want, cherry plum tomatoes, either way you want to call them, that's what those are. We have my regular black cherry tomatoes down here, and when they ripen, they go from this light color to this really dark looking color here. Those are those 2 jalapenos I was talking about. I actually found a hidden potato plant, and it was a small dying one, but we got a few potatoes. These are the San Marzanos. These are the ones I pulled off, and they kind of wrap underneath here on Tuesday, and the ones I got today are sitting here on top. So you can see in just 3 days, they ripen quite a bit. They're really good tasting, great for sauces and canning. And then here's some of the heirloom and the brandy wines that we picked off this week. Got a pink brandy wine down there. A couple of the brandy wines have picked. We've got some golden jubilees and a few other pink brandy wines, but that is what we've harvested this week alone when it comes to these. This is not including the cucumbers. Those are in the fridge. Now let me walk you over to the overflow of the ones that have already ripened in my other fridge. So this is where I put my ripened tomatoes. Got a whole bin full of ripe cherry tomatoes down here. Great for snacking on. Got a bin of heirloom brandy wine and golden jubilees. Got a whole bin of San Marzano tomatoes ready to be processed. Quite a bit of these black cherries still left. And then down here, all my brandy wines. This one got a little bit of damage. I don't know, some fruit flies got in it, but we'll cut that piece off and use the rest for canning. And then this other really dense, my heavy 14.4 ounce pink brandy wine. Just about ready for eating. I'll probably eat it here this weekend. You don't want these guys to be in the fridge more than a couple of weeks, and they're getting close to that, so it's time to process these guys. But anyway, you can see between the overstock there and then what we got here on the counter, I'm in Tomato City, and I want to show you one more thing. I didn't record it this time, but I followed the same recipe as my tomato sauce video, and I'll put the link down below if you're interested in watching it from last year. But I made 7 quarts of my homemade tomato basil sauce. Great on anything really, pizzas or just a dipping sauce, or you can use it in spaghetti, of course, or things like that, even meatloaf if you wanted to. But I've got 7 quarts of it up here, and then next to my pickles that I made, I got a couple other quarts, and I made these without the canning method. These are just made fresh, ready to eat within a couple of weeks, so we'll be eating those tomorrow. And the pickles are always good to snack on. I constantly when I empty this out, refill it back up. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a tour of what I got in here. So there you have it, everyone. Just a little quick tomato harvest and to kind of show you what I'm doing back here. Give you an update on the sweet potatoes. I plan on doing a full backyard garden tour this weekend. And there'll be more to harvest then as well, but wanted to give you a sneak peek of what I've harvested so far this week. Even though it's 100 degrees, the plants are still productive, or at least what was fruit set from a month ago is productive and being ripened. But I'll give you a full update this weekend. I plan on updating my apple tree series and all the other series I got going on. So I got a pretty busy weekend ahead of me. Anyway, if you enjoyed the harvest video and seeing some of the tomatoes I have in the house, please give me a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching.